Hello, my name is Victor Torres and I will be presenting Queer Art Won't Die. Essentially, I'm going to be talking about the project goal, target audience, theory work, research methods and evaluation, and then of course the future campaigns. What is it? So the actual project itself is a 12 videos, 12 weeks voting day finale. So essentially, it starts 12 weeks before actual voting day takes place, and it'll consist of 12 videos of drag queens performing 2 songs about a historical context. Over those 12 weeks, we're going to record different aspects, and we'll get into what things that we're going to record are. But essentially, they're going to include a Reddit community, like webpage, focus group conversations, and then as well surveying the local LGBTQI centers in colleges. It is a multifaceted project because it not only features campaign things online, but as well in person, and that we'll talk more about, like the actual surveys that will be done for every individual later on. SMART goals. So what is a SMART goal actually? A SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and as well time bound. So the first goal that I selected was increase LGBTQIA voting participation by 10% in the following voting polls compared of 2022. The second is receive more than 15,000 views total from all campaign postings by the end of the campaign. So that one again it's trying to get an achievable number. Hopefully we would receive more than 15,000 on a really big drag race post. But 15,000 is just trying to keep it achievable. Increase conversations around the topic of voting significance on Drag Race Reddit by 200% during the campaign. The reason I say 200, again, we have to keep it measurable and obtainable, but it's because the conversation is very, very low right now. It's probably around 2 to 4%, so the idea would be to make it around 4 to 8%, which is, in my opinion, pretty attainable. And then lastly, to perform 3 separate 20 in-person surveys of local colleges in the Inland Empire at the LGBTQIA+ centers. And so the idea would be to survey a diverse community of different LGBTQ members and talk to them about what they think about the actual videos themselves and how it's going. They don't necessarily need to know that we're a part of the project, but I think we would probably have to tell them. So, target audience would be single person method, and so I selected 18 to 25-year-old. They're going to be a hyphenated American. That just means anyone who identifies with more than one culture, and that includes any gender or sexual culture as well. So if you're queer, that is a culture. If you're Mexican, that is a culture. If you are Black, that is a culture. So Black American, Mexican American, queer American, etc. So I also mentioned lives in the Inland Empire, identifies as LGBTQIA+, social media active, and then Drag Race fan. Barriers that they would have are they have internalized homophobia or still perform internalized homophobia. They have a fear of standing out, and they might be introverted and have introverted tendencies. A belief or attitude that they would also have is voting is not important. Queer history is short. All queer voices have been shunned throughout history, and being queer equates to a tragic life. And that last one is really, really important. That's like really a big idea that tends to be prevalent in the queer community due to media culture that like kind of perpetuates that idea. So the idea would be to break that boundary. The theory work that I selected was the education and entertainment theory. Now I talk about parasocial relationships and the parasocial relationship both being created and being played with. So the one being played with essentially is the relationship between the viewer of Drag Race and the Drag Race performers, and then as well the one that's going to be created would be the one of the historical member that we're going to be talking about, as well as the individual watching it. So we're trying to kind of create the parasocial relationship, but also playing with that parasocial relationship. For those, or you know what parasocial relationship is. Narrative character engagement, Now that's going to be talking about how, like, with narrative engagement, we're using the story to distract away from the fact that we are trying to persuade the individual to feel as though their voting counts and that they should constantly and always vote. And so by using the narratives of these historical ideas and people, we'll try to be kind of playing with this idea of, like, distracting from what we're really trying to say. So it's a bit more implicit than explicit. And then character engagement, of course, talking, like I said, about that parasocial relationship and using those characters or those individuals to really perpetuate our message and really get it forward without forcing it. And then, of course, lastly, I talk about changing attitudes with less resistance, reinforcing confidence in behaviors, and then confident behaviors, and then reducing a fear barrier. Lastly, or no, not lastly, research methods and evaluation. The three things that I focus on are recording Reddit conversations during the time of the campaign, as I spoke about before. Record YouTube analytics, that includes likes, comments, dislikes, and then hopefully if we can get them from YouTube, how many times the page was selected from the website, and then we can even try to track the actual voting website information page that we post along with the description. Oh, and then lastly, of course, the surveying of the local colleges. That was the 3 surveys before, middle, and end that are going to be at the local colleges about the actual videos themselves and how they're being taken, and whether or not they're being taken negatively or positively. And then lastly, the campaign features. So this is the fun part. This is where I kind of created 2 examples of what the campaign would actually look like. The first one would focus on Marsha P. Johnson, who is a very big role model in the queer community, and she's actually kind of equated with starting the queer movement, as well as Sasha Colby and Gottmik, who would be the ones performing in the video. They are 2 transgender queens that are breaking boundaries. So one is a transgender woman who performs drag, and the other is a transgender man who performs drag, both of which are not new, as we see with Marsha P. Johnson, but at the same time are pivotal in making changes in our current day. And the song that they would sing their song to is Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, just to kind of perpetuate that message of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And then, of course, the last song is I Want to Break Free by Queen. Queen is a queer icon, whether or not he's queer. And I also selected Tomb of Brothers. Tomb of Brothers is an ancient Egyptian crypt that was found and was initially tagged Tomb of Brothers because, as we know, heteronormativity is kind of assumed. And so even though these 2 were depicted in a much more intimate entanglement in their photo, and this is normally what we would see with a couple, the way that they're holding each other. They were actually renowned manicurists, and so now in the queer community today, it's kind of understood that these are kind of queer icons that were really not talked about. And so, yeah, that's that. And the people that I chose to portray this message would be Naomi Smalls and Shea Coulee, both also really famous drag queens, one being a winner, and I just feel like they would really embody that campness to the music video of, like, I'm never gonna give you up, and the Egyptianness, and I think that we could really play into the whole concept of, like, what the title is, you know, it's a joke. And then, of course, I just included photos of Queen and his band, or not Queen and his band, but his band, and them performing in drag in the music video of I Want to Break Free. So that's a big part of the reason why I also selected that song. My key takeaways, I would say, from the overall project would probably be when selecting a target audience, I found using the single person method really helped me to hone in on what my messages were going to be, because it allowed me to really focus on an individual rather than the queer community and them being so kind of diverse and wide. It really allowed me to kind of just, like, be more straightforward with my messages. So overall, I definitely learned a lot, and I hope that you appreciated my project.